down, yelling out money, anything. Ayy, ooh, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when I'm getting to the back. Ayy, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast. Ayy, ayy, let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss. Ayy.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do, or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. And speaking of that, today, I got a very special guest, and I'm going to just really jump right in. You know, I think founding a business has been it's just been overly glorified out there. But doing it the right way and really founding multiple companies is no small feat either on top of that. But it's like, what does it actually take to build a real business out there? Not one that is, good for 12 months. Like, we're talking the investment of year over year improvements out there. So I have Mr. John Kuhlmann on the show today. John, thank you so much for taking the time to join me.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Good to be here.
No, man, it's been a while. And that's it's one of those things, man, because it's like every time I have people on the show and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to have them back on. And then it's like a couple of years later, and but like, that's just what happens when your friends are like busy and business owners, and they're out there doing things. Because I don't even I look at it in like quarters now. Like, I don't even look at it by like days or weeks. It's like, all right, what's going on in Q2 and everything else.
Yeah. I think it was 3 years to the day almost that I reached back out to you and said, hey, I think it's been a while since we've talked. So 12 quarters later, here we are.
No, that's the thing. Cause like, obviously we're both in Arete, and the last time we saw each other, I think, was at Arete in St. Louis like 2 years ago now.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, dude, it's been a while, man. So like, what's been going on in your world? So, I mean, you've founded a couple of companies out here. You've been in brokerage. So kind of catch everybody up on all of this stuff.
Yeah. So Heartland Logistics Group, we are getting ready. August, we'll be going on our 5th year. So super pumped about that. We've got a great team. Let's see here. We've experienced the pains and the challenges just like everybody else has for the last 3 years. So we're no stranger to that. I will say a testament to the leadership team, and more importantly, the people at the desk level. They've done a phenomenal job over the past 6 months. We've seen growth in a lot of areas. We're 2% up year to date on our budget. We're up 20% on revenue and 30% on volume. So we've been very fortunate. We've retooled a lot of things, looked at a lot of new tech, really dug into our process, and I think that's helped us. And this was a precursor for the last 6 months of last year to get to where we are today. So additionally, on the tech side, we started a TMS company, Sunnybrook software company, productized that last year, took it to market, and now we're just getting going on that. So we've got 18 customers today, and it's been a really good experience. It's been a really good journey, and our clients on the brokerage TMS side have seen a lot of success.
So with Heartland Logistics here, man, are you niche based? Because again, I think that's one of those things that I get asked a lot. It's like, how do I find customers? What do I do out there? How do I get noticed? Are you guys very niche based in what you're doing out there for the most part? Or what would you recommend to people who, maybe they started out, maybe they're starting out as an agent, or they're starting their entire, out on their own. How did you guys kind of do that?
I think the biggest thing is get really good at one thing and then build off that. So I've been in freight for almost 18 years now. My background's in agriculture transportation. So that's kind of where our foundation started. So moving seed, moving ag chemical. And then from there, it was like, okay, what other modes, what other services, what other solutions can we provide to our customers, and build off those and turn our business from a $1 to $5 million brokerage into the 50 million plus that we are today. So over the last 5 years, we've really built on our dry and liquid bulk service offering to our clients, as well as digging in with larger enterprise accounts. So we've always took the road of let's work with these large enterprise shippers. Whereas we continue to grow with them, we can control the amount of volume, the amount of freight that comes in based on our performance, based on our pricing and our execution to those customers.
How, when you're going out there inside of that, like I want to kind of, I don't want to say shift gears a little bit, but
Sure.
How challenging was it to go from 0 to that 1 million annual revenue mark, right? Like I'm not talking in total revenue. It's really like getting up to where it's like, hey, I have a couple of good customers now, and we're consistently hitting that million plus, revenue mark every single year. What was that build like?
It was a quick build for us. And again, I'll just say that I'm extremely grateful for our team. They've done a tremendous job executing that. But the other catalyst for growth for us was we were lucky in terms of when we started and when we got going, right? We launched September of 2020, which, as you know, freight rates were skyrocketing. We already knew the industry very well, so we were able to tap into a lot of the players that we work with today, as well as new players on the customer side. We understood the modes, we understood the carriers, so tapping into that network of carriers really helped us blow up. And like the first year, I think we did our first $1 million in 4 months. So we did our first full year, we did 20 million. So and then year 2 we were at 52. So we had aggressive growth the first 2 years, but then we really spent the last 3 years, absorbing what the market was yielding, making some changes, getting our technology right, get our process right. So, I mean, we're still hovering around that same mark today. However, our portfolio when we started was, call it maybe 50 to 100 customers, and now we're at almost 400. So once the market comes back, once the market does turn at some point, which since freight's cyclical, it inevitably will, once we get there, we expect to see a massive growth coming again here, probably the next, I'd say 6 to 18 months.
Yeah. It's, so when we started January of 2023, right? So pretty much right when everything was bottomed out. And, and I'm really like, hindsight being 2020, as frustrating as it is to not be as far along as I thought we were going to be at this point, I've actually I'm really grateful we started when we did, because my whole mentality is if we can build in a down market, if we can grow year over year in a down market, to your point about when things change, I feel like that aggressive growth that you experienced right away is what's on our horizon, because it's like, man, we actually took this time to implement systems, training, processes. Like we have that infrastructure built up inside of our company. So when things do change, when we are able to hire people and grow and scale, we don't have to be like, oh shit, we got to go write a bunch of SOPs here, right? Like we have all of that. We're ready to hit the ground running. And I feel like a lot of individuals out there who are frustrated with how the market is going, I really want you to actually think about all right, are you appreciating the customers that you have? Because that is, I think, an overlooked skill set that when business kind of falls into your lap, air quotes, I don't know if you appreciate the business the way that you do, when you have to fight to actually get that opportunity to grow with them. And I think that, that's one thing, that's a perspective that has really shifted with me over these last, 5 years of being self-employed is I'm like, damn, I appreciate these customers so much more than I ever did when I was getting a salary, And now I'm like, man, the fact that people are giving me and trusting me with, some of the shipments that we move are $500,000 pieces of equipment, and they're entrusting us to go out there, and that sale from my customer, that's their P&L for probably 2 months, that's a lot, right? It's not just, hey, here's a truckload, go out there and bid it and run it. And that was, admittedly, that was my mentality for the first couple of years of my career, because when you work for a large established company that you have that brand recognition out there, people know you. They're like, oh yeah, man, I'd love to work with you because you work for that company. It's a lot different sale than, wait, who are you? But that's also a blessing as well, because it's like the fact that you don't have a reputation out there in the market, you can set that story and you can tell that story out there and create and build off of that.
Well, and you hit something that's really important. And you talked about in these down markets, working on the business versus in the business, because again, as leaders of different organizations, we help get these things started. So we're go sales mentality. Let's go onboard new clients. But you do have to take a moment and pause and say, okay, when this opportunity comes, when these new clients come in the door, how do we scale? Because it's great to get that first load, that 10th load, that 50th load. But again, you said it yourself, customers are trusting you with their freight. So you need to make sure that you're building out the infrastructure within your organization. That way, as they keep leaning into you, you don't get to a point where you hit that pressure plate and all of a sudden it explodes because you can't keep up the service levels that you did at a smaller volume, right?
How did you guys manage through that explosive growth, right? Because I don't know if people actually understand how much growth you guys went through early on like that, and then to sustain it, right? Because like you've been, we're like I said, we're in the same entrepreneur group, right? Like we are very fortunate to learn from very verifiably successful people who have built real companies out there, and to see people come and go. Just even in today's social media world, right? How many companies do you see come and go like, oh, raised 100 million, bankrupt 6 months later, shit like that, right? So it's like, I think that people overlook kind of how hard it is to go through even that growth, right? And you might be sitting back like, oh, I would do anything to have a $20 million company, but to go from 0 to 20 within 12 months, that had to have been a level of challenges that you probably didn't even expect at that time.
Yeah. And I mean, I think you look at that. So I can think of two specific examples where we had one customer back in 22 where in September we moved 8 loads for them, and in October we moved almost 900. And there was another customer this year. Where January, I think we moved 45 loads. And then by April, we had moved almost 3,000. So when those types of opportunities come up, to your point, you need to have a capacity strategy, and post and pray on public load boards is not the solution. It's a Band-Aid. It'll help you situationally. But I think it takes a talented team that's, been around for a few seasons to understand the seasonality of the market and how cyclical it can be. Finding the right carriers, building those relationships. And to your point, it's hard to stand it up. If I get a contract today for 1,000 new loads tomorrow, will it be difficult? It depends. It depends on what the opportunity is, the geography, the freight that we're hauling, cargo value, what the risk profile is, as far as is it a targeted commodity, all those things. But that's one of the things where when we talk about working on the business, we build out strategies to say, hey, when these types of opportunities come, what does that roadmap look like, right? What's that runway? Do we have a 2-week runway, or do we've got a 3-month runway? So we're constantly stress testing that internally to say, okay, where's our team at? Our team today is probably at 60% capacity. This spring, we moved almost 4,500 loads in April. I mean, we were at about 70 to 80% capacity, maybe a little bit more.
So I want to touch on that, but I want to kind of, for those individuals out there who are listening to this right now, and again, they're like, how do I even get a customer? How would you recommend in today's market, from you've seen it, right? Like you've been doing this for 18 years. I've been doing this for 15 years. I know things are going to inevitably shift, but like if we're going back in there, man, what would you say to those individuals who are like, what can I do differently to stand out in a crowd right now?
Well, I think in the age of AI and automation and email, people are thirsting for that human connection, right? We're pushing our sales reps, our enterprise account management, our business development team heavily. Go meet with your customers, right? People want that person-to-person interaction. And I think that that's where nobody can hide behind an email. They can't hide behind a bad phone call. It's real, right? You're breaking bread with them. I know Scott Erickson, our vice president, he is a huge proponent of let's get out and get face-to-face with our customers. Quarterly business meetings, that's what we need to be doing. And again, it doesn't need to be in a big, fancy, ritzy restaurant and spend a ton of money. Just go meet with them face-to-face. Go have coffee with them. Go engage with them. Say, hey, and be vulnerable, right? Say, hey, here's who we are. Here's what we've done. Here's all the good. Here's the bad things. These are the areas that we can work on improving. That, we care about your business. it feeds our families, right? I've got 100 and last time I counted was 108 kids that I'm responsible for through both organizations. So
Yeah.
knowing those numbers and knowing, and again, I don't know them right now, but knowing those numbers is important, right? We're responsible for those people. So I think just humanizing the conversation, I think, is the most important thing when you go in and talk to those customers.
Yeah. Again, I asked that because it's like, I kind of feel like I say that a lot, and I don't know if everybody like fully comprehends when I tell people like, you got to do what others aren't willing to do. And with AI and automation and email, I mean, and again, admittedly, we fell into the email trap for the first 15 months that we were in business, right? We're like, oh yeah, we're going to just do email. We're going to get in front of all these people. And then I was like, all right, enough's enough, man. Like we have almost zero conversion, like meaningful conversion. And I'm like, we got to pick up the phone and we got to get in front of people. And then as soon as we did that, boom, you can see the hockey stick start to go up. And it is, man, like at the end of the day, you just have to be willing to do what others aren't. And it's easy in a market like right now, because again, like I feel like I want people to rest assured, like we're at about almost 5 years now of capacity not being an issue. All right.
Yep.
Customers, shippers, manufacturers, they haven't had many load failures over the last 5 years, you guys. Most people forget after 5 months, right? Like we're talking 5 years now, right? So it's like when you're hearing we're good, they probably are, but it's like, again, if I'm able to develop new customers in this time frame, right? Like I said, we started in 2023 till now. If I'm able to find them, there is nothing that I'm doing that's like proprietary or special. If you pay attention to my content, I tell you guys literally everything I say. And if I'm able to do it, and it's based on these strategies, we offer to go out and see people. We offer to show up. I will call them. You can hang up the phone on me. I'm almost 40 years old. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you hang up on me, And again, it's like, laugh about it, dude. Like, that's what I do. When I get hung up on to this day, I'm like, wow. Anyways, on to the next one. And I don't give myself any time to think, and you just get back on it. And again, like, there's no, like that, to me, like that's the secret sauce when it boils down to it. Is most people aren't willing to go and like build a sales system, make 40, 50, 60 calls a day, because you don't need to make 100 calls in a day to build a book of business, right? Like I think there is a meaningful number, and to me, it's anywhere between 40 and 50 dials a day that you need to stick with. And again, it's about the repetition. It's about showing up and doing the 40 dials when you got hung up on all of them yesterday, and then coming in the next day and doing it again and doing it again and doing it again. Because how many times have you seen, John, in business where people have that streak of like, oh, for 2 weeks I did 100 calls a day, and then they fall off the face of the map because nothing grew from there?
Yeah. Dials don't always equate to dollars. And, as I tell the sales team, it's like, go out and uncover the pain, right? Figure out where customers are hurting. And again, it could be, I'm having an issue with another provider. I'm having an issue out of this market because of seasonality, right? There could be several reasons for it, but find the pain. And again, we've seen extremely long sales cycles when it comes to large and enterprise type accounts. I have one client that I'm going on 2 years right now. We have quarterly calls. We haven't been onboarded yet. It's still probably going to take a little bit more time, but those are going to pay off eventually. So having regular interaction, not annoying him. I'm not calling him every week. He wants to be on a quarterly basis, which is totally fine. And now go find 50 customers like that, and you will start to see business start to come in the door as it takes a little bit of time. But the guys that are calling every single day, every single week to a large enterprise shipper, they don't want that. I met with the customer 3 weeks ago, and they said, I get between 40 and 70 cold calls a day. And they're like, I just don't have any freight. They go, I give it to all my asset-based guys. I'm keeping the carriers busy, which I respect them for that. And we get overflow on markets, on freight that's not out of their core market. That's the only stuff we're handling for them. That's fine. We're there to support them. If something changes, or if anything explodes, we can come in and backfill where their core carriers can't.
How do you balance that though, right? Like you brought up a really good point, because like one of my things, like when I actually get the decision maker on the phone for the first time, a lot of it is like, obviously they're good right now, right? My main thing is, and I always try and I will just ask them straight out, like, hey, I want to respectfully stay in front of you. I'm not going to call you tomorrow. I'm not going to call you next week. Is it all right if I follow up with you next month on a monthly basis. And I want that verbal yes from them, because like that's where the win really lies in that, because I think a lot of people also overlook where they're at in the actual sales cycle. Because just because you called somebody for the first time and you finally got them on the phone, don't word vomit, overly pitch them, right? Like to me, the overwhelming majority of my calls in a day, John, I'm trying to get them on the phone for the first time to just have them hear my voice, to have them half pay attention to what I said, to say, yeah, you can call me back. And then that's where the relationship, that's when you kind of be like, all right, how do I get you to remember me the next time that I call?
Yeah, and I think the communication mediums are very interesting because, Chris, you and I are both old school, right? We're both around 40. We rely on phone calls and emails. And it's like, what I'm actually terrified of in a good way is like this next generation of sales reps that come through, they're going to get super creative, right? They're going to be sending videos. They're going to be doing all sorts of things that we've probably not even seen yet that are going to be highly effective based on the buying demographic at these organizations as we keep moving forward into the future, right? So videos, well, I can't even think of some of the other ones, but there have been some really creative things that have come along. So
yeah, but I mean, if you're going to use video, because that is a medium that I use after I call them first, I get their email, and then like I to me, it's more of like, hey, we're a real person at the end of the day. Yeah. And again, you guys, right here, this is literally all you need. Record it 20 seconds on your phone, shoot them an email, and that's that, right? Like you do not need any fancy software editing stuff. I'm fortunate I have that because like I have a media company as well, you guys. So like that's the only reason, but the majority of the content that I shoot is shot on my cell phone. This is the only time I'm using my expensive camera. Otherwise, man, I use my cell phone out there for the majority of it. And again, it's about, to me, I feel like it's sales now, John, I'd love to get your opinion on this. It's more of like proving you're an actual human being, because there is some really good AI stuff out there, deep fake stuff that it does sound like they're a real human being on the phone. And I think you got to take those additional mediums. And that's why it's like, again, back to us both being old school. I want to show up face to face, because nothing says I'm serious more than, hey, can I just come shake your hand and drop off a business card? Yeah. Nothing says that I'm serious than that, right? Because most people are not going to go through all of that effort to do all of that just to like screw somebody over, at least in my opinion.
I don't know, Chris, but the world today, people go to extensive leaks to commit fraudulent activities. But to your point, yes. I mean, I think meeting customers face to face, sitting down for coffee, going to conferences, right? Conferences is a big deal. And, you know, we always look at it every year. Which ones are we going to attend? Which ones are we not going to attend? And everybody always just goes back to what's the ROI? How many new clients did we pick up? Well, ROI is not defined as a one definitive moment. We went to the conference, I got 9 new leads. Some of these things take a year or two to materialize. So you have to be able to attribute that ROI not only in this year's dollars, but what about next year as well, right? I went to this conference this year, I didn't get anybody, but next year I went back, I talked to the same 6 people, and now I've got 4 new customers. So from last year, yeah, there was no ROI, but if you count this year too and combine them, yeah, we're starting to see some positive movement with this conference. We need to keep digging in. And a lot of conferences, you go to them the first time. I mean, you know, like Manifest, there's 6,000 people there. You're just going there trying to get your bearings the first year, right? It's year 2 and year 3 where you can really dig in. So again, face to face, show them that you're a human being, show them that you care about their business and that you want them to be just, you know, help them be successful.
Dude, I couldn't agree more with that. Now, I want to shift gears here a little bit as we, as we're kind of wrapping up, and I want to talk about tech here, John, because how are you deciding what tech to invest in? Because I think that there is an automation oversaturation out there on like what is needed to develop and execute business and what is not. So you have a unique perspective because you founded a tech company. You are on that side as well. How are you deciding what is needed versus like what is wanted inside of your operation?
Sure. So there's a lot of questions out there around like buy or build it yourself. So we take that approach with everything that we do. And I've got to basically wear 2 different hats as we look at it for the brokerage as well as for the TMS. I mean, on one hand, I have to make sure that the TMS has enough tools and products to support our customers' needs. I will say that like from a sourcing perspective, carrier tools are very much required within the TMS. So we're building a lot of those natively, and then we're allowing other third-party vendors that have a really good product to come in and say, hey, we're handling the compliance, we're handling the sourcing piece. We've partnered with Highway. We're in talks with GenLogs right now because they're a great tool platform. Carrier 411, you go down the list, as well as other onboarding tools. I mean, we're integrated with, I think, 18 other software applications today. So it's not like one. And we've even gone one step further because we realized that shippers use TMS as well. So we're integrated with Blue Yonder, E2 Open, all these other big platforms, even other brokerage platforms, because they may execute LTL freight, for example, in one, but then use ours for a truckload basis. So it's a big space. There's a ton of technology providers, but we need to remain as neutral as we possibly can, because you never know what the tech stack looks like from one brokerage to another, right?
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
No, absolutely. Right. And I look at it as, as somebody who's I'm fortunate to be with SPI as an agent, because dude, we have everything we need and then some to build our business up. But at the end of the day, I feel like we're kind of at a point where there's so much that is out there. It's like, all right, what is actually required? And then on top of it, can you afford it? Right? Because that technology is expensive, right? And I say it all the time. You need a TMS as a broker, right? I'm talking as a broker. You need a TMS. You need a TMS that is integrated with your load boards, your carrier vetting, all of that stuff. But I think you need a TMS to start, right? I don't think you need to pay for lead generation software right away. I think you can utilize Google. It's a great resource that's out there. But I think there comes a point where you think you can automate your way to success, and you're overlooking what you actually should be doing out there in the market. And again, if you can afford automation, if you can afford technology, get it. It is phenomenal, but it is not required. I have yet to find a prospect or a customer of ours that even asked about a tech stack, but outside of, do you have API or EDI capabilities? That is about as far and complex as it has gotten.
Well, and I think as you look at all the platforms that are out there today, I mean, if you look how data and information moves from one party to the next, right? It's either going to be manual through EDI or through API. I guess the fourth realm would be through AI, where you're not pushing or pulling any data. The AI is doing that. But as you look at your platform, you want to have a system like ours is built on an API layer, so we can integrate with virtually anything that has API endpoints. So that was the foundation of how we wanted to build everything. And then we said, okay, from there, we want everything to be plug and play. We want everything to be modular, and then we can bolt on the necessary tools that we need as we continue to grow. So that's been our core strategy since day one.
I love it. John, I could talk to you for another hour, man, but we both have day jobs. You got a couple of businesses to run out there, but dude, how does anybody reach out to you? Are you guys hiring? How does anybody connect with you if they just want to, chat or anything like that?
Yeah, so you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, as well as we have our company page for both sunnybrooksoftware.company as well as Heartland Logistics Group. I'm happy to help share, provide any knowledge I can to support your community as we all look to grow together.
Perfect, John. I appreciate it. And that's going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, you guys. And if you're feeling really ambitious after this one, rank the show on iTunes and Spotify, because if you see value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon. We got an outro now, John, so I need you to stick around for a second.
Came back with a bang. Window down, yelling out money.